So it looks like we're starting to get early info on the new characters coming in the Nodcry arc, Genshin's version 6.x cycle. Some of these names have been floating around for a while, others are brand new, and a few might surprise you. In this video, I want to go through everything we know so far, who they are, when they might release, what role they could play in the story, and whether they're expected to be playable. There's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. Save up to 25% on the Escoffier and Navia banners at lootbar.gg. Here, I'm buying the 6,480 Genesis Crystals pack for $79, while it costs $100 in-game, saving me $21 instantly. The top-up process is super simple. I just entered my UID and selected my server. In less than 5 minutes, the gems appeared in my account. As you can see, I received double the amount for my first purchase, just like with in-game top-ups. Beyond Genshin, you can also top up in Honkai Star Rail, and Lootbar has over 50,000 satisfied users. I regularly use Lootbar for my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. New users can get an extra 10% discount from the link in the description. Now first, you might be wondering, who's coming in version 6.0 itself? And the honest answer is, we don't know yet. As of now, no specific character has been confirmed or reliably leaked for the first banner of Nodcry. That doesn't mean 6.0 won't have a new 5-star, it almost certainly will, just like previous region openers. But unlike past arcs where the launch character was known early, this time the details are still under wraps. It's possible 6.0 will introduce one or more of the characters we'll talk about today, either through quests or early appearances, with their actual banners coming a bit later in the patch cycle. That brings us to Duran, who's set to release in version 6.1. And no, we're not talking about the giant corrupted dragon corpse frozen on Dragonspine. This is a human-shaped version of Duran, possibly a resurrected form, or maybe a new body forged through alchemy. He's tied to Albedo's lore, created by the same alchemist, Gold, and if you've ever played through Dragonspine's quests, you know there's a lot of unfinished business there. What's especially intriguing is that Duran is listed as an Anemo character. That opens the door to a really interesting design space, because if this version retains any of his former draconic powers, we might be looking at an Anemo DPS who plays totally different from someone like Xiao or Wanderer. Whether he leans into swirling wind damage or something more thematic, like pressure-based crowd control, remains to be seen, but lore-wise, his appearance is long overdue. Then in version 6.2, we're finally getting Colombina. She's ranked 3rd among the Fatui Harbingers, just below Dottore, which already puts her in top-tier territory. Her soft, almost childlike appearance is a huge contrast to her rumored power, and there's been talk she might be connected to the moon god, though that's likely symbolic, not literal. What's interesting is that her element is intentionally unrevealed, which usually means it's tied to major story spoilers. Her weapon is also still unknown, but she's confirmed to be a 5-star character, and there's strong speculation that the unreleased 5-star outfit seen in the files could belong to her. Expect her to be a major highlight of the Nodcry arc. Now, jumping away from playable characters for a second, let's talk about Barbaloth. If you remember Mona's voice lines, you've heard of her before. She's Mona's master and a powerful astrologist from the Hexen Circle, the witches' circle that includes Alice and likely Dottore. Barbaloth is described as wild, a little eccentric, but extremely talented. Her release status isn't clear yet, and she might not even be playable during Nodcry, but she's been confirmed to exist through lore for years, and her appearance here, probably as an NPC at first, could finally give us more insight into how astrology, fate, and even Celestia are understood by Genshin's more arcane characters. Then there's a mysterious Geo officer, whose name and full appearance haven't leaked yet. All we know so far is that they're aligned with the Geo element and hold a formal position in Nodcry, likely some kind of military or regional leadership role. Now, most Geo characters in the game tend to focus on things like def scaling, shield creation, or interruption resistance, so it wouldn't be surprising if this character followed a similar pattern. But here's the thing, Players have been asking for years now, when is Geo finally getting some sort of elemental reaction or proper support buff? And with a new Geo character appearing in a region that seems steeped in lore and mystery, this might be the moment. Maybe this officer won't just be another tanky unit. They could actually bring a shift to the way Geo works. It's not confirmed, but the timing and context make it feel like a real possibility. If Hoyoverse plans to rework or expand Geo reactions in any way, this character could be the one to kick that off. As for Varka, he's one of the oldest names in Mondstadt lore, and we finally have a window for his release. Sometime after version 6.4, he's the Grandmaster of the Knights of Favonius, and has been off on an expedition for the entire game so far. Based on what we know, he's expected to be an Animo character, and likely a Claymore user. That would make him the first male Animo Claymore if it holds true. Either way, players have been waiting for him since version 1.0, so expectations are sky high. Now here's one of the strangest but most intriguing names, the White Horse, also referred to in lore as the Gold-Eyed Celadon Mare. She comes from a book called Moonlit Bamboo Forest, and if you haven't read it, it's basically a Liyue myth about celestial beings cleansing an ancient place called Tao Du. What makes this interesting is that she's reportedly going to appear during the Lantern Rite, possibly as a Liyue-based adeptus. Some even speculate that she's a daughter of time, possibly linked to a being called Astaroth. Of course, this could all just be poetic metaphor, but the fact that she's being included at all suggests she'll have significant narrative weight. Whether she'll be playable is still unknown, but the visual circulating now is an interpretation based on her book description. If Hoyoverse does decide to make her a unit, expect something mystical or support-oriented, possibly tied to time, healing, or even energy regeneration. Last, there's the boss of the Curatorium of Secrets, which is basically Nodcry's version of an intelligence agency. No name, no element, and no kit details, just the title and role. This boss lady is shaping up to be one of the key figures in the political and espionage side of Nodcry's story, much like how Arlecchino dominated the underworld in Fontaine. If she becomes playable, it'll probably be closer to the end of 6X. But even just as an NPC, she might drive a lot of the region's internal tension and behind-the-scenes drama. And before we wrap up, it's worth addressing something that recently changed. Originally, it was believed that Dottore would become playable in version 6.5 or 6.6. But thanks to a reliable source, DK2, we now know that's no longer the case. As of now, there are no plans to make Dottore a playable character during Nodcry. That doesn't mean he won't appear in the story. He absolutely might, but don't expect to see him in a banner anytime soon. So, what do you think? Which of these characters are you most curious about? Do you want Colombina to be a support or a hypercarry? Are you excited for Duran's human form, or are you still holding out hope that Varka will finally live up to the hype? Let me know in the comments, because if the Nodcry arc really is the beginning of the end for Tevat's main story, we're about to meet some of the most important characters in the entire game. Save up to 25% on the current banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.